Friday and how more stimulus will be obvious and apparent. I have all the details for you here in the video. Let's get right into it. All right, now here we are getting a couple months into the year so far, and we're getting a lot of new data. So I want to point out exactly what I'm watching on Friday, the announcement that will be coming out, and what this means for all of us going forward. And again, how this is likely going to make stimulus a whole lot more apparent and very obvious based on the reports we've been getting so far this year for 2025. Obviously, we're only a handful of months so far into the year. We haven't had a ton of data, but we have had a lot of major changes here, and we've seen some major shifting in the overall economy, which again, I've mentioned this before in other videos, is how stimulus is predicated. Remember, it's always based on the health of the overall economy. When things aren't doing great, that is when stimulus is provided. And again, this ties right into the announcement coming out on Friday. And again, why I want to keep a very close eye on this, because this can be very important when it comes down to everything that we're watching right now as far as the distribution of, the approval of, the delivery of, anything like that. Let's talk about Friday, what this is, okay? All right, now here's the thing. I've talked about this kind of report before in other videos, but here is the interesting point about this. Since we rolled over to the new year, we haven't exactly been seeing the best reports ever. Now, here's the thing. Some of the reports that have been coming out are looking like, hey, that's pretty good, right? But then when you dig into it and actually look at the kind of the dynamics of the actual reporting that's coming out, it's like, that's actually not looking all that great. What is it? We're going to be getting the non-farm payroll, otherwise known as the job report or the labor market report. Now, you might be thinking first off, okay, I don't really care. What does that have to do with stimulus? It's 100% predicated on the economy and overall stimulus as well. Now, here's the thing. One of the biggest indicators, in my opinion, and one of the most important reports that we get out every single month is the labor market report or the jobs report or the non-farm payroll. It's all pertaining to literally the exact same thing, and it's coming out on Friday morning. It's the first Friday of every single month. We get this report that comes out. Well, this is going to show us a number of different things. Number one, it'll show us the unemployment rate. Now, that's kind of, again, in my opinion, not what we should be focusing on. We should not look at the unemployment rate. That's not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, a lot of people look at it and say, oh, it's this or that. Okay, who cares? It's just a number. It's a percentage. That's not, in my opinion, what we should really be looking at. What we should be watching is how many jobs were created and or lost and the revisions over the last couple months. Those are, in my opinion, the most important because it shows us what's going on. Are businesses expanding and hiring and expanding payrolls? Are they letting people go and contracting their payrolls? In other words, less jobs are being created. What's happening over the last couple months and the revisions coming in, right? Because they do this every single month. They bring us revisions with the report they give us, for the past month. So this report that we get out on Friday will be February's job number. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of excuses as far as why it may be good or not good. Just who knows, whatever it's going to be. But then they also give us revisions, right? The last couple of months, they say, oh, we're revising down, X month by X amount of jobs. We miscounted by 50,000. Whoops, sorry about that. We overcounted. Or we're revising higher, or whatever it happens to be. But the revisions are the big ones because these are those that kind of slip under the radar. A lot of people just look at the headline number and say, oh, we created 252,000 jobs. Okay, that's the headline number that comes out. But what are the revisions? If they revise down by 80,000 the previous month, it makes it look really bad. Like, hey, we miscounted by way too many. We gave a headline number that looks super good, and then we revised it down a ton, so it's really not that great of a number at the end of the day, right? So anyway, my point is, this is what we need to continue watching, in my opinion, because when we look at these job report numbers, what it does is it gives us a big, broad overlook of the overall economy. When businesses are not doing great, when the economy is not doing great, when there's not a good outlook on the overall economy, this is when businesses maybe pull back on hiring a little bit to say, hey, let's just wait and see what happens here, especially with some of the decisions out of the Federal Reserve as well, which, by the way, we have another meeting coming up here in just like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so. We have another meeting coming up when it comes down to the Federal Reserve meeting for the next, FOMC meeting, and we'll see. What are they going to do here? Are they going to raise interest rates? Are they going to cut? Are they going to pause? What are they going to do here? Right now, the consensus is they're not going to raise interest rates probably until later this year. I said raise. I meant to say cut. Sorry, they're not going to cut interest rates again. Probably until sometime around October-ish is the consensus that's out there. So that's not looking too rosy. And the longer that they keep interest rates high, that's just going to contract on the economy even more. So we're seeing all of these different factors that are all converging, suggesting, hey, we're not in the best economic situation right now. The economy might be doing okay, but it also takes a very long time to slow it down. But once it does, it gets ugly pretty fast, right? If you look at the beginning of any major economic contraction, it typically takes a long time to slow down, but once it does, it hits fast, and that's when lawmakers scramble and they print up a bunch of money. They pass all these multi-trillion-dollar packages like what we saw back in early 2020. Late 2020, early 2021, we saw multiple trillions of dollars, $6 trillion worth of packages that were passed during that time, and that they pushed out. In about a 12-month period of time, they passed $6 trillion and multiple stimulus checks during that time as well. 3 of them, $1,200, $600, and $1,400, were all passed during that time. The point is, it's all based on the economy, and we continue to see these economic data points that come in. This that comes out on Friday could potentially be one of those that's like, hey, that's super ugly, not a good report whatsoever, and this could be making it very clear, very obvious, very apparent that stimulus is needed and probably not much longer out into the future. Now, here's the thing. I want to say this really fast. Have many people been struggling financially over the last several years? The answer is yes, most people have. Not everybody, obviously, but a huge percentage of the population, especially the low income, the fixed income, those individuals have really been struggling. We know this. I mean, this is no shock whatsoever. We've seen tons of reports, tons of statistics. We've seen all the reports coming out about this. It's no shock whatsoever to see this. We know that. But the deal is, I mean, people are struggling financially. Nothing is going to change with this overall picture unless we get a major change with the overall economy, something like that. Nothing's going to change. It's going to be the same old thing, day after day, week after week, month after month. We won't get any changes to that unless we see a major change in the overall economy, whether positive or negative. That's when we're going to see something. And again, I want to throw this out there. If we were to get a major recession, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I know so many people are so fearful of a recession. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. I mean, what is there to fear about it, right? It's a big reset. It just resets things. It'll bring inflation down. The Federal Reserve will scramble and cut interest rates aggressively very, very fast. That'd be good. It'd make it easier to get access to capital. It's less expensive to borrow money if you're floating a balance on a credit card like I am. It's very expensive to float that. Not a fan, right? So my point is, it'll reset a lot of things. Prices will come down. Money will be printed. Stimulus will be provided. All of these things, not a bad picture, right? We've seen this before. It's good. It helps out a lot of people. But when they get out of hand and they print too much money, like $6 trillion like they did the last few years here, that's when we see the massive inflationary problems. But if they were to keep it under control and not go nuts like they did a few years ago, we wouldn't have the inflation like we did, right? They printed too much money. That's the problem. Too much going to too many places, and that's why we had so much inflation. So anyway, they could easily get around this next time and print, a significantly smaller amount of money, and they'd be totally fine. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. We'd see maybe some very small inflationary impacts, but nothing near what we saw in the last several years here, and we're still dealing with it today, right? Anyway, leave it at that for now. I hope this helps you, but again, I will continue to watch that report that comes out on Friday very, very closely. I'll bring you the details of it, let you know what it means for all of us, our money, our benefits, anything like that. And is it looking good? Is it looking bad? All the details of that, I'll bring that information to you as we get it. Anyway, I hope this helps you. Again, please make sure to subscribe down below. Totally free to do so. Otherwise, if you can think of 1 or 2 people that benefit from this information here in this video or any of the other well over 5,000 videos here on that channel or benefit from knowing me and or this channel, please, can I ask you a huge favor? Please make sure to share the video. There's a share button right down below as well. It's 100% free to do so. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of the community as well. Again, make sure to subscribe only if you haven't done so yet. Also, please feel free to check out any of the other 5,000 plus videos here on the channel in the video library. Down below in the description at the top of the comment section, I've hand selected some very popular videos for you there. Check those out. Or right now, pop it up your screen as well. You'll see some videos there. Otherwise, just have a nice day. That's all that really matters right now. Remember, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be. That is my dedication and my promise. And as always, I'm sticking to it. So again, enjoy your day, and I hope to see you again soon in the next video.